The Taliban's rise, fall, and return to power have reshaped Afghanistan and global politics. In this video, we'll take you through the full story: the origins, the wars, the ideology, and what the future might hold under Taliban rule today. Origins of the Taliban. The Taliban emerged in the early 1990s in southern Afghanistan. Their name means students in Pashto. Many were educated in Deobandi Islamic schools or madrasas in Pakistan, influenced by a strict interpretation of Sunni Islam. They rose during a chaotic time. After the Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan in 1989, warlords and former Mujahideen fighters battled for control. The country descended into lawlessness, and ordinary Afghans suffered from violence, extortion, and corruption. The Taliban promised something different: order, justice, and Islamic governance. For many weary Afghans, this message was appealing. The First Emirate, 1996 to 2001. By 1996, the Taliban had captured Kabul and established the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. They controlled about 90% of the country by the late 1990s. Under Taliban rule, strict Islamic law was enforced. Women were banned from school and work, forced to wear the burqa, and could not leave the home without a male guardian. Men had to grow beards and attend prayers. Music, TV, photography, and sports were banned or heavily restricted. Their rule was harsh. Public executions, floggings, and stonings were common punishments. Only Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates recognized the Taliban government. 9/11 and the Taliban's fall. Everything changed on September 11, 2001, when Al-Qaeda carried out attacks on the United States, killing nearly 3,000 people. The Taliban had allowed Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda to operate freely within Afghanistan. When they refused to hand him over, the U.S. launched Operation Enduring Freedom, invading Afghanistan in October 2001. By December, the Taliban regime had collapsed. A new Afghan government was installed with support from the U.S., NATO, and the United Nations. But the Taliban were not gone. They simply melted away, retreating into rural areas and across the border into Pakistan. The insurgency years, 2002 to 2020. From 2002 onward, the Taliban regrouped and launched a long-term insurgency. They used guerrilla tactics, ambushes, suicide bombings, IEDs, and hit-and-run attacks. The US and NATO poured billions into rebuilding Afghanistan, training an army, supporting elections, and trying to build a modern state. But corruption, factionalism, and poor governance plagued the Afghan government. Many Afghans saw the US-backed leadership as disconnected and self-serving. Meanwhile, the Taliban gained ground in rural areas by offering swift, though brutal, justice, and by exploiting ethnic and tribal tensions. By the mid-2010s, they had a stronghold over much of southern and eastern Afghanistan. Peace talks began but made little progress for years. The 2021 takeover. In 2020, the US signed a deal with the Taliban in Doha, Qatar, agreeing to withdraw troops in exchange for Taliban promises to cut ties with terrorists and begin peace talks with the Afghan government. But those intra-Afghan talks faltered. When US forces began their final withdrawal in 2021, the Taliban launched a rapid offensive. To the world's shock, Afghan security forces collapsed quickly. Province after province fell, often without a fight. By August 15, 2021, the Taliban entered Kabul and reclaimed power. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani fled the country. The U.S. scrambled to evacuate over 120,000 people, leading to chaotic scenes at Kabul's airport. The 20-year war was over, and the Taliban were back in control. Taliban rule today. The Taliban now govern Afghanistan again, under the name Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. But this new rule looks a lot like the old one. They've restricted women's rights, banning girls from secondary school and limiting women's freedom of movement and work. Women are excluded from most public jobs and face severe dress codes. Human rights organizations have accused the Taliban of extrajudicial killings, censorship, and arbitrary arrests. The economy is collapsing. Billions in Afghan assets are frozen abroad. Sanctions, drought, and internal displacement have led to widespread hunger and poverty. Despite early promises of moderation, their governance remains hardline, especially outside Kabul. Global recognition and future uncertainty. As of today, no country officially recognizes the Taliban government, but regional players like China, Russia, Iran, and Pakistan are engaging with them diplomatically and economically. The West, led by the United States and European Union, demands reforms, especially regarding women's rights and counterterrorism. The Taliban face immense challenges: gaining legitimacy, rebuilding the economy, managing extremist factions like ISIS-K, which opposes Taliban rule and continues to launch attacks. Whether the Taliban can transition from insurgents to legitimate rulers remains to be seen. The Taliban story is one of religion, revolution, war, and survival. It reflects deeper questions about power, culture, and the legacy of foreign intervention. What does the future hold for Afghanistan? And can peace, stability, and human rights ever coexist under Taliban rule? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth videos on history, conflict, and geopolitics.